Mayor. For me, it was a busy week, a good week, last couple of weeks. August 15th, I was at the ribbon cutting for the new raw water tank. And then on August the 22nd, Mr. Wood and I, and Mr. Wood was with me at the ribbon cutting for the raw water tank as well. Sorry, Mr. Wood.
Yeah, that's all right.
And Mr. Wood and also Mr. Sloat were with us, and as we cut the ribbon for the southern corridor. And so that was exciting, and we're looking forward to what that's going to bring to the city. And I know Mr. Short will speak. I think you were at the South River, so I won't steal your thunder on that. So item 4 is matters from council members.
Yeah, I'll just add, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Myself and Councilman Wood, we attended with Delegate Campbell the commemoration kickoff, if you will, ribbon cutting of the South River Preserve, and just a wonderful event and an incredible new addition to our community, and really for the future of our town. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be there for that event and to celebrate not just all the hard work of our federal and state partners, but really succinctly for our tremendous staff and Dwayne and his entire team for pulling that project together. So awesome. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Short. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up here because I don't want to miss anybody. Last week I was up at the Blue Ridge Community College for the Valley Alliance for Education Grant Award ceremony, which Waynesboro was well represented. The VEA, I think altogether was just over $47,000 in teacher-led projects that they had awarded, and I want to make sure I get this. I had it wrote down and I run off and forgot it, so I pulled it up here. Let's see here. Waynesboro teachers that received grants. I can get through all these ads. We got to do something about these ads on the news later. Waynesboro teachers, Katie Ditchin from Wayne Hills Preschool, Tracy Goodson from Kate Collins, Elena Guy from Westwood Hills, and Adriana Sprouse from Wayne Hills Preschool all received grants. So I just want to make sure they get recognized for their hard work. And also, if I can find it here, also, we had a representative of Teachers of the Year. I think her name was Miss Hickle. I think I get that right. I apologize for this. This one over here we go. Yeah, Miss Sarah Hinkle from here in Waynesboro was one of the 3 division Teachers of the Year. So I want to say congratulations to them and how much we appreciate their hard work in our school system, representing our kids and going that extra mile for those grants to take that extra step to help our children be better students and better members of our community. So, and other than the Southern Connector, I'm real happy about, and the South River Project and the raw water tank, we've had a busy couple of weeks.
Yes, absolutely.
So, good things in Waynesboro.
Anybody else? All right. I was, and excuse me, I apologize, Delegate Campbell was at the ribbon cutting ceremony for the Southern Corridor, and we appreciate her taking time out of her busy schedule to be there as well. Item 5 is consideration of the consent agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Comby. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Short. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Item 6 is to present a certificate of appreciation for service to the Waynesboro Historical Commission. Member Ms. Chanda McGuffin Tucker. Ms. McGuffin Tucker, would you come forward? Ms. McGuffin Tucker has completed her tour with the Historical Commission, and the head, David, is here as well. Wanted to recognize her for her service, and so he gave me the opportunity to do this on behalf of the Historical Commission and the Council. So it says, Dear Chairman, on behalf of the city council, I want to tell you how much we appreciate your effort and service on the historical commission and to the city of Waynesboro. The success of the community is a direct result of volunteers who offer their time and talent to make the city the great place that it is. We're glad to number you among those citizens, and we appreciate your dedicated service. We hope you will accept this enclosed citation as a simple reminder of our gratitude and wish you the best in your future endeavors. Jen also serves on our EDA as well, so she's not going too far from us. Thank you for your service.
Thank you all for putting up with me, my 100 emails and text messages, and I'm not going to go too far, so I'll keep texting and emailing.
Thank you, Jen. Item 7 is to consider adopting an ordinance amending Chapter 78, Article 5, Transient Lodging Tax. Mr. Hamp, do you have?
Yes, sir. This really was an ordinance that sought to incorporate into the local code changes that were made in the Code of Virginia in this last session that make it, that facilitate the exchange of information between commissioners of revenues and Airbnb establishments. The point being, for some time it was believed that Airbnb type establishments were not being equitably taxed among other lodging establishments like traditional hotels. And for some time, commissioners and localities have been working to first level the playing field of exchange of information with the ultimate goal of establishing a fair or more fair system of taxation. So this really, in short, incorporates changes in the state code into the local code.
Any questions for Mr. Hamp? This ordinance was properly introduced and discussed at the previous meeting. Unless there are questions or additional discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Item 8 is to receive an update from the Valley Community Service Board on the Crisis Receiving Center. Mr. Hamp.
Yes, sir. The Valley has been working for a number of years with the Commonwealth to respond to initiatives from the governor to improve mental health and substance abuse services in the community. And this opportunity, if realized, will fill a needed gap in services. And so our friends from Valley are here to shed some light on the status of the CRC project.
Thank you. Good evening, council folks. I'm Kim McClanahan. I'm the executive director at Valley. I have seen some of you before as I kind of pop in once a year and talk about what we're doing. This specifically is for talking about the Crisis Receiving Center and Crisis Stabilization Unit. But I did want to take a minute to thank you for approving the 10% match that you put out for Valley for FY26. We really appreciate you meeting that full obligation. It's very important to this project. It helps us get where we're going with it. And I am going to introduce to you John Sandy, who is our finance director at Valley, and he's going to be doing the PowerPoint presentation and give you all the those things that are above my pay grade around money. And then if we have any questions, we have some program experts here, and we'll try to answer whatever we can.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, fellow council members. My name is John Sandy. I come to you from Valley Community Services Board. I serve as their finance director, and I've been very involved with this project, which all of Valley is very excited about, as our member localities are. First of all, the Crisis Receiving Center, really what is it? It's a Crisis Receiving Stabilization and Detoxification Unit. Where is it going to be at? It's going to be in Fishersville, approximate to Augusta Health, near Wilson Lane and Tinkling Springs Road. It'll be about 25,439 feet of structure, and it'll be located on a 6.17 acre site. It is on a by right location in Augusta County. It is zoned for general business, and it fits that prescription. Also, the staff initially will start off with three staff, and will eventually grow to about 51 staff persons over the next 3 fiscal years. It will be a full-service overnight clinic and facility. And the important thing about this facility, not only will provide services to your residents and to the residents of this catchment area, including Augusta County, Stanton, and Highland County, it will also provide some savings. Savings to your law enforcement, allowing those police or sheriff's deputies to be out on the street to run calls, as opposed to having to sit and wait at an emergency room for individuals who could be housed at this facility. It also will have some savings to the hospital, especially to the emergency room in terms of wait times for the general public, including your residents. These individuals, if qualified, they will move to this facility and be taken care of. And it's projected at this point to be open in September of '27. Here's the location for the facility, and again, it is Lot 4 on that. If you see the cul-de-sac in purple, right along there is Wilson Trucking and a number of light industrial uses. It is that large polygon to the north of that cul-de-sac as depicted on this diagram. Again, it's zone general business. It's by right zoning. We certainly checked with Augusta County and with their planning department to make sure that that was the case. Again, it's adjacent to general business use. The general business use is in red. The general industrial is in purple. And again, it will have access to Wilson Boulevard. Here's a photo of the site itself. You can see the business, the light industrial uses to the west or east of that facility, according to this photo. It's about 6.17 acres, as I mentioned, 25,439 square feet facility. It has close access to water and wastewater. As we checked with Augusta County, it will not require any increases in their appurtenances or their mains to supply both water and take wastewater from the facility. It has a lot of access to utilities, to electric, again, access to Wilson Boulevard, Industrial Way, and also the facility will meet any setback requirements as required by Augusta County zoning. And we hope to have it meet all the design requirements. As you know, a facility like this, because it serves and it provides medical services and mental health services, will have to meet a number of tight state licensure requirements. And we hope to do that as we work through the design of the facility. It's a little bit hard to see this diagram, but this was a prototype that was designed by ZMM Architects and Engineers out of Roanoke, and they were asked by the state, the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services, to actually design a prototype facility for a CRC. So this is one of many CRCs that is being located throughout the Commonwealth. The unique feature about this design is it will be the first one that will be designed from new construction. Most other facilities for all other CSBs in the Commonwealth have been redesigns of building. This will be brand new construction. It'll have 16 beds, 16 chairs. It'll have a CTAC. It will also have a sally port, which is important for your law enforcement personnel and for the neighbors, to any residents that will come to this facility or anybody that will be brought there by law enforcement will go through a sally port. So it'll be difficult for anybody to actually see the person who was actually brought to the facility. It will also have some secure areas off that sally port for law enforcement until they remand custody of that individual, and they are screened by our medical staff. It'll also have a pharmacy and medical rooms, exam and vitals, staff offices for the counselors and for the management at the facility. We'll also have laundry and clothing storage, showers, reception, and also a kitchen and small dining room. Next, this shows you a diagram of that prototypical facility by ZMM, which again was commissioned by the Commonwealth. And we were able to take that diagram and work with a civil engineering firm to actually place that facility on the site. The site, we hope the facility will be similar to this diagram, but the good news is the facility, the prototype will actually fit the parcel. It includes all of the buffer areas that are required by Augusta County. It will also include a fire lane around the building, and that fire lane will accommodate all types of apparatus, including aerial apparatus. It has will have a fire line to provide water to any part of the building. Again, it will also have a sally port, as I mentioned, a loading dock in the back, about 102 spaces for staff and the public, and for those that are handicapped. It'll have 2 fenced-in outdoor closed areas. The facility itself will be cameraed and certainly sprinkled. It will be a secure facility. There will be law enforcement that will actually be at the facility. Augusta County Sheriff's Office will have deputies housed at that facility, in addition to your law enforcement and other law enforcement from the localities in the surrounding area who will come and bring individuals to be remanded there. The setbacks on itself, as required by Augusta County, are about 25 to 35 foot setbacks. We think that it certainly can fit. And there also is a stormwater detention area. If you notice that darkish area that runs diagonal to the north, if you're looking at this diagram to the north of the property, it's not true north, but you can see a stormwater detention area. It also have a generator, and as I mentioned, it will have a fire line loop, which will help any first responders for handling response at the facility. Here's our capital budget. This capital budget, just like most capital improvement project budgets, as we get closer and closer to designing the facility, the numbers start to narrow and become a little bit more accurate. This is our latest estimate as of really today, of really last week. You can see the revenue that will offset the cost of the facility. The lion's share will be provided by the state through restricted grants, including a construction grant. And then we also were able to use $802,000 plus of ARPA funds. It was the only ARPA dollars that were not frozen by the Commonwealth for us to be able to obligate. So we felt very fortunate that we could use that for the facility. Valley Community Services Board of Directors appropriated $1.5 million as part of our fund balance in June of actually it was May of 2024, I believe. And then also you'll see the localities are also contributing to the facility. And I want to point out that this amount is over a 3.5 year period, fiscal year period, and we're not requiring or requesting any additional money than you ordinarily would provide to Valley Community Services Board as part of your 10%. So I want that to be clear, is we're not asking for additional money from any locality than you ordinarily would provide Valley Community Services Board as required by state statute for the facility. But this is over a 3-year period. And then we also are excited, we have a new 501c3, which was formed in November of 2024. And we're busily taking donations into that nonprofit. And that nonprofit, the goal is to provide about $250,000 of funding for the facility. In terms of expenditures, we have a project management firm on board who is actively managing the project. We certainly acquired the site, and you can see it was about $971,000, including the property manager commission. The site development work is about $2.9 million. That certainly is rather in line with the type of property that we have, knowing that it is a little concave, and also the underlying geological strata in the area is limestone. So we have a good enough contingency in there that we think that we can get the site developed for that. Design engineering, which we are actively working through a selection for an A&E contractor. We're in the middle of doing interviews among firms that have competed for that work. They will take that ZMM prototypical design and tweak it and possibly make it better. Also look at some value engineering to make sure that we might be able to bring down those costs. The construction of the project is based on about $499 plus per square foot for 25,439 square feet. Then we have furniture, fixtures, equipment, and systems, about 1.3 million. And then we have a built-in contingency of about 2.1 million. So the total expenditure is about 22 million, right around 22 million. So that number, again, will shift as we get closer and closer to design and get the facility designed, but that's pretty much in line where we are at this point. In terms of funding sources, just from a pie chart, you can see pretty much the locality portion, that should be about 9%. The state portion should be about 78%. I've updated those on your hard copies. And then we have the ARPA funding, which stands around 4%, and the donations at about 1%. Here's the project timeline. I apologize, it's a little difficult to read, but site acquisition was 14 months. It was completed on April 25th of this year. Site acquisition actually was much longer process to look at this site. We looked at a number of different sites since I started my tenure at Valley in June of 2024. But we settled on a site that was one of the leading candidates for the site. So actually that site was unattainable, but eventually came back to us. So we were excited. We felt that we received and bought the site at good value. Design engineering will take about 7 months. Again, we should start design, we hope, as early as September, and should conclude by May of 26. Then we have construction and site development work, which will be about 19 months, hopefully finishing in August 27th. Staffing, licensure, and operational plans. Certainly when you develop a facility that has these special operations, it requires a lot of SOPs, certainly requires licensure by a number of different state agencies related to how it operates, that it safely operates for those individuals who are there. And then we have usually a 1-month burn-in period and hopefully opening by September 2027. Many of those milestones run parallel to each other and concurrent. Again, this is our estimated timeline as of today. Again, once we work through design and we work through other milestones, that may shift. That's my experience related to capital projects, but we hope we're relatively close there. Here's the operating budget for the facility. As you can see, the facility actually will receive reimbursement revenue. That's through Medicaid, Medicare, private insurance, or self-pay for the individuals that will be housed there or will visit there. Is also some additional revenue that we will pull in. The first year in '26, we received a U.S. Department of Justice Mental Health Collaboration Grant, which we've been working very closely with law enforcement on. That will pay for the first 3 positions, at least for the initial year. That second year, we certainly will see a gap in terms of what we will have for money to operate the facility. However, I think certainly we'll be working with our budget. One thing to make that a reality and to be able to offset those costs, because it's important to also understand that this is a new priority for Valley. So some of the other programs and services that we may have may shift to this facility, and some of the services that we already offer will shift to this facility. So we think we can address that gap in the second year. You'll see, though, in 2028, we start to get that reimbursement revenue in through Medicaid, Medicare, and private insurance and self-pay, and then it bumps up each year by a good percentage. And then eventually, the facility itself and its operations should be able to have a windfall. That windfall then can be used for additional programs or services there, or for rolled into the upkeep of the facility and any kind of capital asset plan that we may have. Here is just a list of our partners. We certainly consider the city of Waynesboro as an important partner for this facility. You've been supportive of us, not only by your membership on the board of directors, but also in the support that you give us with our 10% matching funds. Your sheriff's office, your police department also will be using this facility. Hopefully, you'll be able to see some savings potentially for your law enforcement, as individuals may not be tied up at the hospital. They may be able to remand these individuals to this facility, and we'll be able to kind of work with them. But all the localities, all of our member localities, Augusta County, Stanton, and Highland County, have been active in their partnership. We also have an incredible partner as the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services at the state level. As you can see, the Commonwealth is bringing the lion's share of money to the table. We've also, it has been a big initiative of the current governor. And then we also have a number of different organizations that have provided support, whether that's contracting support or just leadership in terms of us being able to get the facility built. One of those that I will point out is Augusta Health. They have been instrumental in terms of providing advice, showing us different sites, and just being overall supportive of the effort, because they know eventually for their own bottom line and for your residents that actually have to be there at the emergency room and wait longer hours, that there should be some type of savings that you might see for those individuals that are at the emergency room. And also Wilson Investments, that is the property owner, the former property owner. They actually have a covenant on the property. It's in that light industrial area. That covenant does have certain design requirements, but you have to remember we're fitting in with a light industrial use. And one thing I wanted to point to is when you see the facility itself, the entrance is off of that Wilson Boulevard and off that cul-de-sac. So the building itself faces toward that industrial use. And again, it will be a very secure facility. We also have involved our sheriff's office, the sheriff himself, in terms of looking at the design of the facility. I've had at least one meeting with him on the detailed design of the facility. He's been very active in championing all of law enforcement's efforts to make sure the facility is safe for your staff that will actually have to be there, and also safe for our staff that will actually staff the facility, which is important. And then, of course, ZMM architects and engineers, which gave us that prototypical design. So with that, we're happy to entertain any questions. Dr. McClanahan had introduced myself, but our program experts are also here to answer any questions you may have. So thank you for inviting us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. You have any questions? Anybody have any questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, so my question is pertaining to, let me just give you just a quick background. My first job when I moved to the Commonwealth was working for Valley Community Services Board. And I was administrative staff at 123 West Frederick Street. And part of my task was on very frequent occasions was to intake substance abuse folks. And so they would come in drunk or hallucinating and so on and so on. And so when I think about that, it leads me to ask your initial opening with 3 staff and you say full service. Will it be full service at initial staff of 3? It seems kind of...
No, Vice Mayor.
Oh, okay.
The facility will not open until September 2027.
Okay,
The 3 staff will be hired this fiscal year in
Okay.
'26.
okay,
So their job will be to help recruit the additional individuals who'll be
okay,
here.
okay.
And to also work through all the licensure requirements to help with the design of the facility.
Okay.
To make sure that it's not only safe, but it's practical from a clinician perspective. So,
I'm glad you made that
Yes.
clarification, because I'm
Yes.
like, wait a minute, hold up.
sorry.
That seem,
Your standard
okay, okay,
How does this all work?
yes, yes.
together? But yeah, we will not be opening the facility with 3 staff.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for clarifying.
And given, the world as it is.
Yes.
In terms of staff, I mean, we also can open the facility, but not open every bed.
Yes.
Not open every chair, so that as we're ramping up, getting it fully staffed. I can't imagine on day 1 in September of '27 that we will open 16 beds and 16 chairs.
Okay,
It doesn't seem, unless some miracle happens.
yes,
And I'm not anticipating that.
Yes.
In the next couple of years.
well, thank you so much. I appreciate that clarification. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I just have a quick, just for my own edification, is what measures, if possible or practical, do you apply for the facility not being used as an overflow asset for neighboring jurisdictions?
I'm sorting your question through my head. I would not say that we wouldn't bring people from other jurisdictions in, but our 4 localities will always be first and foremost. So, I mean, if there's an empty bed, we're not going to turn somebody away if we have the capacity to do that, but it's always going to be our folks are going to be the ones that we are going to be providing those beds and chairs for first, if that's...
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Yeah, thank you for that. Because I mean, I'm familiar with the, was very actively involved with the conversation when I first got on council, and, learning about in Charlottesville's facilities as an example, and some of the challenges that they have. And so, I mean, I would just, for whatever it's worth, I mean, I just learned that hotels do this. I don't know if you all knew this, but hotels do a minimum set aside for certain. We're doing a hotel that we're near an airport, and so 30% of the hotel is always set aside and remains empty. So if someone under that terms of contract needs a service, needs a room, that's available. And I get, unfortunately, the conversation, the topic, those in need and in crisis is growing. So I guess that's, hopefully we just don't open up on day one with at capacity and the challenges that would ensue from that.
I can't imagine that we will, and you are right, the need is growing, it's gonna be there. But again, remember that we can't open up more than we have capacity from our employees to do, and we have to make sure that that's a safe place. So we can't do that, and, we're not gonna turn people away if we have the capacity, because number one, we want to help people, number two, we need to have revenue coming in the door so we can keep the doors open. But I would not expect that on day one. And Bob, you may want to speak to, because you have the experience with some of the other places that have opened over around the Virginia, and I'm not thinking that they're probably built in capacity. Bob Tucker, who is our expert on everything emergency, so let him speak to that a little bit.
I got to see your business card later, yeah.
Crisis RS. This initiative is based on the Arizona Now, Crisis Now model. Is trying to have the right place to go. I forget the acronym, but someone to speak to, someplace to go, someplace to be safe. And it's really built on flow. So when we originally were approached, they wanted us to do what they called a CRC, which is a place for 23 hours and 59 minutes, and then they got to go. And that's licensure that dictates that and everything else. And we were very adamant, like, thank you very much, but we need the CSU as well. That's up to 15 days. And then the doc in the box in the middle, we're able to provide psychiatric services, medicines right then with the medication dispensing machine. And the CITAC is the Crisis Intervention Team assessment site for them to come in voluntarily or to come in voluntarily with mobile crisis moving in and out. So the gist of it is they're going to come in and just talking to someone might be enough to go out with, and we're going to drive them home, we'll have drivers and that type of thing. They might stay for a while, not the whole 23 hours. They might stay all the way to the 23 hours. But when they go out, we're going to try to set up community stabilization programs in the communities too. But then they would go into the the crisis stabilization unit up to 15 days as well. And then only after that, if someone still needs acute psychiatric inpatient, then we would proceed with our partners to find those beds and search it. So it's always going to have a flow to move people through. So it's like the 23 hours is going to be a couple of minutes open for someone else type of thing.
Right.
And the average, I was quoting this at the other board meeting, the average acute psychiatric inpatient stay in the United States, I used to say it was 3 to 5 days, but someone else said it was 5 to 7 days. And then with our warehousing and the ED, it might be 3 to 5 days before they even get to the place. So this facility keep people in the community without having to go through the trauma of the emergency room, because if you got a broken leg, it ain't therapeutic either down there, much less having a crisis. I hope to be able to resolve most of the things here without ever having to touch an ED and to leave the community. So it'll provide a lot of savings, a lot of dignity, a lot of recovery opportunities. But that flow is going to be extremely important, because if we're not moving them on this side, we're going to get bottled up here. And so it's going to be a constant move through that. And we're going to partner with Augusta Health, because the overall object of something like this is that in other states 30 years ago who started this crisis continuum build-out, the amount of inpatient psychiatric beds exceeded the amount of people needing them. Virginia, we have more people needing them than we have the beds. As this happens, we're treating them, we're decompressing the beds. And so we can hopefully have this opening that with Augusta Health, so this person needs more acute than we can do, and move them over there and that type of thing.
Okay.
So you're right, it's a good point. It's always going to be our catchment area first, and otherwise we're on divert, because we've got to keep that going.
Yeah.
But good points.
Makes
I'll
sense.
remember that
Yeah.
idea of the 30%. I like that.
Okay, all right, thanks.
I do have a question to follow up on Terry's. In a perfect world, your beds would be empty all the time. I said in a perfect world, your beds would be empty all the time,
Well, having
Is there
fewer
gonna-
crises is a good thing, yes.
Yeah,
but-
but are there going to be any kind of MOUs or anything with any of the adjoining areas that are not Stanton, Augusta, Waynesboro, and Highland, to where if the beds are full and we have somebody from Highland or Waynesboro, Stanton, who needs that bed, that they're going to have to facilitate moving them to someplace else that they work with?
Highland, Waynesboro, and Stanton will always have priority at that place. When the original thought came down the line, to begin a Youngkin's thing, there was going to have, and they had the map of Virginia with 5 stars, 5 regional centers like this, the Cadillac version. And since that time, the money's come out, and almost everywhere is having some version of this. One in Allegheny's coming up. Charlottesville has their own that they're doing. Valley Health up in Winchester has a whole thing where they're involving the hospital with kind of emergency psychiatric crisis room and things. So there's much more capacity being built out. But I haven't addressed that because I can't imagine that we would need to say, we're full and we got our resident here and we want to get them over to Charlottesville, but that's what we would do with bed placement. What's my guys do 24 hours a day right now?
I think it's a fair question, and I don't think we can answer it because we haven't gotten to that point. But I could see that there could potentially down the road be some MOUs around that and how that would flow. But as Bob was saying, it's also the case that you've already have a 7-bed CSU in Harrisonburg. Allegheny Highlands is coming up with what are there,
It's a
8
CRC,
beds?
but it's going to have the whole thing.
And, Charlottesville has it, so, but as we move down the road, those are questions that we will certainly be addressing.
Yeah, I'm just kind of thinking of a family, if you got a family member in crisis, the whole family's in crisis.
Absolutely.
And the extra burden of the family having to travel all the way to a Harrisonburg or a Charlottesville, someplace when we have beds right here, that should be the priority when our people are paying for this. Or
Absolutely.
chunking in on the facility.
It's far better than having to travel to Virginia Beach.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, we
Right.
absolutely agree.
Yeah.
And we'll be thinking about that more thoughtfully as we move down the road. But right
But-
now, we're pretty excited to be where we are.
Oh, it's,
It has
yeah.
been a long time coming.
Yeah,
The state
absolutely.
loves the term, the airplane's taking off and we're still building it type
I
of
got you.
thing.
Yeah.
But I'll also tell you, shoot, just lost my thought on that whole thing. I'll remember when I'm sitting down.
I'll give you my
But-
card.
Anyway,
That's great,
But
thank you.
We're very excited. I mean, as you know, I've been talking about this for the last 2.5 years. So that we are at this point, have property, have all this going on. I couldn't be more delighted.
Yeah,
I'm right there
absolutely.
with you.
Right there.
and what I was going to say is with the build out of this, I remembered it. With the build out of this, the idea is pushing this down the road. So 5 years ago, crisis services was, they call us on the phone, we talk to them, see us in the morning, or police would go out and talk to them, leave them there to call us in the morning, or go to the hospital, that was it. As this builds up, we're trying to move the crisis from now I'm in the emergency room because I'm going to hurt myself or something, all the way back down to they got a place to go when they're starting to have the trouble. So we're going to alleviate some of the crisis stuff and get direct treatment. Because again, in the emergency room, you're not treated for what you're presented for. And so this can start that immediately.
And you made me think of something else to see what happens. Perhaps through the design, and I recognize that that's additional cost, and you have a very prescribed construction estimate, and design estimate. But to the extent of as we want this resource to be around and as functional and as useful as long as possible, the parcel itself is neighboring additional existing uses generally, and to the extent that the parcel that the building could go vertical in the future for an expansion, that might be just as another kind of consideration too, as the population what does it look like and what are the needs, how does the facility, so you're not having to go buy more land or do additional redevelopment and the like to go vertical to support those sort of services.
Great future vision and thoughts. The issue, Arbor House in Harrisonburg is just a CSU. It has an upstairs too. It's about 1,700 square foot downstairs. No, it's not it's like 700. But anyway, equal spacing upstairs that they use for staff meetings and things, not for direct service. The reason why this is more advantageous, you saw this, the doctor thing in the middle. Right. They can serve the chairs and they can serve the beds, making better use of a very limited resource with the doctors and things. But sky's the limit. I mean, if things get going on. But again, the idea is to not need it as much. Maybe become healthier and take care of each other better.
And right now, 1 story is a lot less expensive
Yes.
than 2.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
down the road, yeah.
Well, just from a design perspective, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you very much to the VCSB for that update. We appreciate it. No actions are required this evening. Item 9 is to consider adopting a resolution approving an extension for the Stanton, Augusta, Waynesboro Emergency Operations Plan. Mr. Ham.
Yes, sir. As the agenda item suggests, Stanton, Augusta, and Waynesboro share an emergency operations plan. It's a document that provides direction and control for emergency management and handling major incidents that cross jurisdictional lines that might include flooding, severe weather, terrorism, etc. Our current plan expired in June of this year. We were on a path and a process to have that plan renewed in partnership with the Central Shenandoah Planning District Commission. But because of staff turnover and organizational change, the plan was not completed by the renewal date. That's okay. We remain in partnership with the CSPDC, and we're confident that we will have a renewed plan by the end of this calendar year. However, in order to keep our standing, remaining good standing with the Commonwealth, Council has asked, as are the other participating jurisdictions, to pass this resolution that extends the life, essentially, of the existing plan until the end of the calendar year, at which time we expect the revised plan to be complete. I apologize, the resolution was not included in your packet, but I've updated your packet in real time, and if you have the resolution in your email, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Ham. Any questions from council?
No.
Is there a motion to adopt the resolution providing the extension?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Sloat. Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you, Mr. Short. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Item 10 is to consider approving an operational agreement for cooperative partnership among Augusta County, Stanton, and Waynesboro, and the Opioid Abatement Authority regarding a regional opioid grant.
Yes, sir. Members of council, you may recall that Stanton, Augusta, and Waynesboro undertook a regional assessment of opioid use and recovery resources in the region. Upon completion of that study, the SAW localities worked with CAPSOL to develop a grant application to initiate a program of service and treatment, education, and prevention in the community. The SAW group was initially unsuccessful with their first application, but submitted a second application, which has been approved by the Opioid Abatement Authority. SAW will receive state opioid funds in the amount of $140,000. Those funds are matched by local direct distribution opioid settlement funds, of which Waynesboro's share is $14,000. The total match among the three localities is about $60,000. Waynesboro's share of that $60,000 match is $14,000. The grant funds primarily prevention and intervention work in the region. It will pay for the hiring of a regional prevention coordinator to be supervised in the Shenandoah Valley Office on Youth. That individual will work primarily in schools doing drug abuse and substance use education and prevention work in the public school system. Additionally, the funds will hire a nurse navigator and a community health worker. Those individuals will be employed by the Virginia Department of Health, our local health department. And I think during some of the preparatory briefings that I shared, that this was in order to stand up a mobile clinic. And at the time, I suggested that may involve the purchase or acquisition of a vehicle, a van, an SUV. It turns out that I was not clear on that point, and I think the term mobile clinic is simply meant to describe that these health workers will go into the community at various points and deliver services in neighborhoods and throughout the SAW region, and not from traditional clinical environment at the health department. I'm working to confirm that. but I'm increasingly confident that that is the case. That the nurse navigator and the health worker will work primarily to distribute harm reduction kits. These are gloves, CPR masks, educational materials, naloxone, fentanyl test strips. Additionally, they'll be working with populations in the community who are probably using and help them with understanding hepatitis A/B vaccinations, hepatitis C treatment, and also understand and distribute opioid education and prevention materials as well. I would tell you that the members are excited about this opportunity. We felt like that as funds have been accumulating over the years through the settlement, as the opioid abatement agency became more established, we felt there was some pressure or some urgency or at least desire on the part of the service providers in the region to start getting this money into the community and doing some good. So we feel we're very pleased with this first opportunity, and I would stress to the council that there are significant funds coming to us, and I think you'll see other options for programming and other interventions and other models to provide benefit to the community and structure care and interventions in the community. So I would caution you not to feel like this first draft is going to be the only draft. We'll do this. We feel like this will make some impact, and we'll learn from it, and then we'll be all the while looking at new opportunities to get these funds into the community to abate opioid use and treat those individuals and families that are impacted by it.
Thank you, Mr. Hamp. Any questions? Is there a motion to approve the operational agreement?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Short. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Comby. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it 5-0. Item 11 is to consider an appointment and reappointment to the Waynesboro Public Library Board of Trustees. Ms. Melissa Techman is considered for reappointment to a 4-year term ending August 31st, 2029, and Ms. Patricia Sullivan is considered for appointment to an unexpired term ending August 31st, 2026. Is there a motion to make the reappointment and appointment?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Short. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it 5-0. Item 12 is to consider appointing an individual to the Economic Development Authority to a 4-year term ending August 31st, 2029. Is there a motion to appoint Victoria Evans?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Sloat. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it 5-0. Item 13 is citizen comment.
Yes, sir. Mr. Dave Getz.
Mr. Guest, as you come, you're familiar with the process. You'll have 3 minutes. It'll turn yellow. You'll have 30 seconds left, and you know the rest.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
My name is David Getz. I live at 11 South Oak Lane here in Waynesboro. And I come tonight first in gratitude. Since my last appearance here, the contractors that make use of the right-of-way that passes in front of our house have been noticeably judicious in their speed. So much so that in the last couple of weeks, we've not even really noticed their comings and goings. And so I wanted to express my gratitude for that. As this project winds up and comes to an end, I'm not sure who to contact. Where South Oak Lane comes off of Delphine and comes in to the North Oak Lane and then turns and goes over the river, they've installed a stop sign. They have a street sign that says North Oak Lane, South Oak Lane. But 50 feet up on the other side of North Oak Lane, where the South Oak Lane part where I live on, they place no such road sign. And that concerns me. Yes, most people have GPS today, but I think it would be a small task just to install a similar road sign at that portion of North Oak and South Oak Lane Junction. the driveway remains in significant disrepair. There's about 6 to 8 cubic yards of gravel left in the laydown area that VDOT was using. We don't know who that gravel belongs to. In order to avoid a burden on the city, though, if they can identify who owns that and make it available to us, I have a tractor with a bucket on the front, and I would gladly spread that gravel out to help repair that right-of-way that we use. It currently has many, many potholes in it. It's not so much noticeable when it's dry, but when it rains, you sure notice it, and it's a muddy mess. So would that be you, Tony, if I may ask? Okay, then I'll get with him, and he and I spoke actually before this meeting. He's offered to come over and take a look at it, but we would like to help the city out if we can, if that gravel is available. We're in the current process of expanding our own driveway through our lot and making it a circular drive, so that now the mail carrier and the trash trucks can actually come down that road to our homes instead of us having to drag our cans all the way down to the existing intersection of South and North Oak Lanes. The reason to moving the mailboxes is we find that the post office is leaving packages at our mailbox, and there's no observation there. We know how bad porch pirates are in some neighborhoods. Well, there's not even a porch to snag it off of. There's a post there and a box, and then there's a package sitting on top of the mailbox because it's too big to go inside the mailbox. And so we hope that the city will cooperate in helping us relocate that mailbox to the front of our property where it meets the right-of-way that the city owns. And the only other question I have is when they're going to make the fire hydrants live. The fire hydrants are in place. I know that's tied into the sewer lift station, the other underground utilities improvements. But obviously, once those fire hydrants go live, my homeowner's insurance is going to go down, because right now I pay a premium for living more than 1,000 feet from an existing hydrant. Mr. Ham, I don't know if you happen to know when that stuff may go live.
Probably, I would imagine, Mr. Wood, they won't go live until after we complete the utility projects, which will probably be 18, 24 months.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I thank you for your time. I just wanted to share my concerns and get them on record.
That's all.
Item 14, communication correspondence calendar. Mr. Ham.
I don't have anything this evening, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Ham.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, if we were talking about maybe adding and made me think of something to ask staff who mind looking into, is on Wayne Avenue at the southern side where Rife and Arch meet, there once was a crosswalk, and I think when we did the overlay project, that crosswalk was eradicated, and I've had some parents who walk their kids to Berkeley Glen express some concern that the crosswalk was removed.
Okay.
And I know it was there because it's on the aerial, so
Okay.
it used to be there.
You can look at that, yes.
Thank you.
All right, item 15. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Short. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Conley. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?